It's my pleasure to welcome you, Sharon. This is Sharon Daloz Parks from the Whitby Institute and the author of these wonderful books, Common Fire, Big Questions, Worthy Dreams, and Leadership Can Be Taught. Sharon is the inaugural speaker for Shalem's new series, Contemplative Voices for the 21st Century. So Sharon, what would you say is one key challenge that we're facing in this complex time?
Well, Carol, you know, and so much of the goodness of Shalem recognizes that we are living at one of those hinge times in history, a cusp time in history, and our social covenants are being profoundly reordered, re-examined. We can all wish life would get back to normal, but we live in times that are volatile and shifting. And there have been periods like this in history before, but we are certainly in the thick of it. And one of the things that I think is a particular challenge for all of us is how to live in a time when it is so important for us to be able to distinguish between uncertainty and anxiety. As Greg Lavoie wrote long ago in his book, Callings. And we do live in uncertain times. And part of the work of each person, each organization, every community, every society is to find a way to live with that uncertainty without being frozen by anxiety or so agitated by our anxiety or distracted by our anxiety that we are unable to be faithful to the moment, that we are unable to imagine the possibilities of our future that are positive because we're so anxious about what we might be losing or the ways that history might turn that would be dangerous or unjust or a violence to any one of us or to others. And so the times in which we live call for a centeredness of soul that I think we're learning is not enough for us to only cultivate individually, but we need places where we know that in a shared way that we can give each other the kind of steadiness, the kind of confidence, and the kind of openness to what Spirit is up to in our time, that we can contribute in the ways that are courageous and positive, and that witness to a capacity for a larger trustworthiness than might otherwise be the case. A trust in each other, a trust in the unseen, a trust in the movement and currents of Spirit that we can be guided. And all of those are statements of faith. And on any day we know that faith and doubt walk hand in hand together. So we're vulnerable to the doubt, to the anxiety, to the fear. And the problem that we are seeing our society riddled with is that fear can trump every other emotion. It can trump our desire for meaningful community. We wall up, we hunker down, all of those other ways, and we lash out. And we need to have the strength that we find in that going within and being together among with a trust of what is beyond us.
So you really described the mission of Shalem. in terms of being that kind of spiritual community where trust and discernment and courageous action comes from the living prayer and a living life in God.
And our society right now needs places that will be that kind of node in the net, where a kind of right energy, right spirit is constellated, and we can tap into that which we need most for the work that is now at hand.
We're thrilled you're with us, and we just are delighted for this conversation and the deepening that will come because we're together.
It is always a privilege to work with Shalem, and even though I dwell on the other coast and am there most of the time, there's a colleagueship even at a distance that I treasure, and I thank you for inviting me back.
Our pleasure, Sharon.
Thank you.